Happy Monday. So this week's topic is going to be on self-destruction. So in short, what is self-destruction, right? Self-destruction is the act of sabotaging our own well-being. So that's a short answer, but the long answer is this can include emotional, it can include mental as well as physical. So this is often through harmful patterns such as avoidance or behaviors that work against anything positive that's in our life. So anything that's related to growth, stability, or our peace, right? So initially, I was just going to discuss like three significant concepts of self-destruction. There are many, but there are three like really big ones in my opinion. But then I thought to myself that self-destruction is like one of those kind of self-care, self-love topics that you have to like sort of discuss the cause and the effect. And since you're talking about emotions, I'll just say cause and expression, because the cause is going to be what's going on internally, right? So those are those internal roots. So that's what's going on in the inside. But you also want to connect the dots with how that shows up as far as your behavior. So that's how it plays out on the outside. So for this video, I'll discuss the 6 pillars that sort of, how they link up and how they show up, the cause and expression. So the first is big surprise. It's the unresolved emotional pain and guilt that we have. And most of us, have this. It's to different severity levels, of course. So essentially what it is the deep wounds that we carry. And those wounds are literally the catalyst behind every destructive decision or choice that we make. So that's number 1. Number 2, it's that negative self-talk that we have with ourselves, right? Because we're our own inner worst critic, right? So that's that dialogue, that internal voice that keeps being on repeat, that sort of highlights the shame, the fear, the lies, the false beliefs, keeping us small, making us think that, we are small. Even for people that say like, oh, I don't believe I'm small, but the way that you treat yourself, there's no way that you can say that you don't believe it, but yet you're acting as if you are small by the way that you treat yourself, if that makes sense. And then lastly, this one is the really, really big one because this is sort of masked as like a coping mechanism. And what it is addictive or numbing behaviors, right? Because this can actually end up doing a lot of harm to ourselves physically. So those are the attempts to avoid or silence any emotional discomfort that we might be going through. So some of us, this may show up as eating, maybe not enough food, maybe too much food. Maybe you're doing drugs. Maybe you're consuming alcohol. Maybe you're overworking yourself to avoid, real life connection or something else that you're avoiding in your life. It could be constant scrolling, comparing yourself to someone else. It could be toxic coping, like getting with someone or being around people that don't truly care about you, or you don't care about them, but yet it's just a method of toxic coping. So again, those are addictive or numbing behaviors. Now, the connecting part of that, how it is expressed externally. So think about that first one, which is the unresolved emotional pain and guilt. All right, so how that can show up as a behavioral pattern, how it can play out is what you do is you block your own progress, right? You have doubt, you have a distorted sense of what you deserve, right? So that's classic self-sabotage, right? So that unresolved emotional pain shows up when you play it on the outside as, I'm just going to, block out anything that's good, essentially, anything that's good. And then the second thing is the negative self-talk, right? How that shows up for us, how it plays out is isolation, right? So we withdraw from connection, from people that were either good friends, from family members. It's still feeding that lie, right? That we're either unworthy or we're too much of a burden, or you have some people that everyone is the problem except for them. So let's do a process of elimination. Everyone is the problem except for them. Their problem is, this person did this to me, that to me. That's like classic, like no accountability type of people, right? No. And that's the worst type of self-destruction, because you're not able to see like, hey, I have a part in this too. So if you're going through something, you can't put everything on someone else. You have to deal with what you can deal with and meet people where they're at, right? If it's going to be a situation where maybe you're not going to cross paths with those people again, okay, that's fine. But at least be accountable for your part in it. And then lastly, as far as the addictive or numbing behaviors, how that can show up is those toxic relationship cycles, right? So either we stay in harmful dynamics, sabotaging healthy ones. Let's say you had someone that could be a potential healthy situation, but you purposely messed that situation up because being vulnerable made you feel unsafe. So have you ever noticed how some people get with people, well, they'll treat the people that treat them terrible. They're always there for them. Like at first I never understood it, but then you have to really understand self-destructive behavior and self-sabotage. If you're going to be with someone that's sort of crummy to you and doesn't give you self-respect, but you're still with them, that's some work that you need to do on yourself. It's not the other person. It's you staying there to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to stand this. There's a reason why at that point you're thinking that it's okay for me to stay with a person that's giving me mediocrity, right? So question, is there a way out from this? Absolutely there is. The first step to getting out of self-destructive situations, self-destructive behaviors is one, self-awareness, right? Becoming aware to say, you know what, there's a problem. There's a problem with what's going on with my life. Be honest, right? You can't start to heal if you aren't honest. So recovery doesn't mean that you will never feel triggered again by certain scenarios. It just means that you are no longer ruled by those triggers, right? You learn to respond, not just react. And that shift changes everything. And so you may be thinking, what's the difference? Respond, react, it's the same thing. No, there's literally a valid difference. When you react, that's just your knee-jerk, automatic, emotional, often driven by past wounds or triggers. It may involve you snapping, shutting down, overthinking. But when you actually respond, this is normally intentional. If you've been on this channel before, I say this word often with dealing with emotional regulation. And what that word is pause. So you pause, you start to process. You choose how you want to handle a situation based on the goals that you have for yourself, not just your emotions, right? This takes a lot of inner work and strength, a lot of inner work. But all that to say that if someone is going through some self-destructive behavior, or you know someone that is literally on a path of self-destruction, they or you can turn your trauma into testimony. All right. And remember, redemption is literally your rightful reward, right? You are the key to empowering yourself to get better. As much as like you could be hearing this video and thinking that, man, I know someone that's on this path, but I can't pull them out. You can't. You can't do the work for them, right? They're going to have one, that self-awareness, and two, that honesty to say, I don't like where I'm at. I don't like where I'm at and I want to be better. So yeah, so that has been the video on self-destruction. If this video has resonated with someone that's either going through something or someone that they know that's going through something, please like the video. If you would like to see more content related to self-care, self-love, shifting your mindset to be the best version of yourself, please subscribe to the channel. I would love to see you here. Otherwise, take care, be well, enjoy the rest of your Monday and the rest of your week.